Hey, what's up? In our previous beginner guide, we talked about your very first steps in Lost Ark, boosting, events, and what is the best way to get started. If you want to watch that one, it's linked in the description below. Please feel free. Today, we're gonna talk about the classes and how you should go about choosing yours. So listen, we have 22 classes available for us with more to come in the future, and each of these classes has two different builds that they can play and that need to be explained in order for you to really get the class. If I would spend a minute on each build, it wouldn't help me explain them in very much detail, but it would make this video an hour long. A wasted hour of your life because, quite frankly, the only thing you need to have to choose a class in Lost Ark is a pair of eyes. You go to the class selection screen, watch each trailer, listen, and that's how you begin. However, I do want to guide you on general things about the classes and what the community thinks and expects of them, because I think it's very important for you to understand how it all works when you're actually in the game. First of all, there are support classes and DPS. The supports are Paladin, Bard, and Artist, each with major visual and gameplay differences, but ultimately accomplish the same role in an almost undistinguishable fashion. From a DPS player's perspective, only a few classes could potentially get more value out of one support rather than the other, and in the daily routine it simply does not matter. So whichever visual style of supporting you like more, that's the support you should go for. Worth mentioning that supports are not required to do damage, so you will play tankier builds because of that, which means in turn that some gameplay mistakes will go unpunished. That's great from a new player's perspective, but again, you need to like the gameplay. Generally speaking, the cost of building a support class to an acceptable point for any current and future content is cheaper than building a DPS class. But again, this should not be your main criteria in choosing one. You choose one if you enjoy supporting, because that's what you're gonna do all day long. As for DPS classes, each DPS has two different builds, as I was telling you, based on the two class engravings that you can use. The difference in between each build can vary greatly, but here's the TLDR basically. If you enjoy martial artist gameplay, any of the fighter classes will give you that thrill. If you're into warriors from literally every previous MMO you've played, choose a berserker. If you want to pretend you're a tank, choose Gunlancer. If you love mage gameplay and casts, choose a Sorceress. If you love assassin or roguelike gameplay, choose a Reaper. If you like minions, choose a Summoner. If you enjoy Rangers from all of your previous MMOs, choose a Sharpshooter. For small guns and the weapon swap mechanic, choose Deadeye or Gunslinger. For big guns, play an artillerist. If you enjoy underdog classes or slightly underplayed ones, try a Soulfist or a Deadeye. If you want a more survivable DPS, try an evolutionary machinist or any type of destroyer and gun lancer. Easier to play DPS would be a demonic shadow hunter, a gravity destroyer, pistolier, Deadeye, evolutionary machinist, or even a scrapper and an overflow summoner. Slightly more demanding classes, either demanding your full attention or fingers, could be an Arcanist, a War Dancer, or a Reaper. And if we're talking about who's the top DPS, most people would answer that Igniter Sorceress is. My opinion is that there are many classes who can swap podium places with each other. Classes such as a Barrage Artillerist, a Surge Deathblade, a Deathblow Striker, Master Summoner, Destroyer, Arcanist, Gunslinger, War Dancer, and the list can actually go on. They're all actually really nice. Worth mentioning that there are a handful of DPS classes that get one extra point because of their crit chance increased party buff. Some people, including myself, create their builds with that buff in mind, right? And because of that, I need them a little bit more than I need the buff from another class, for example, but completely for completely selfish reasons in that case. Gunslinger, Arcanist, Striker, War Dancer, Glavier, and Deadeye all bring this crit chance buff in one way or another. I will mention though that a dead Gunslinger is not what I'm looking for to increase my crit chance buff, because there is no buff if you're dead. There is also no buff if you're too scared, if you don't know how to play the class, if you don't know boss mechanics. Does everyone value these classes that bring an extra crit chance buff the same? Absolutely not. It's just an extra point in the minds of other DPS players who play classes that need them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not an overall extra point. Another class worth an extra point is a gun lancer, very giga chad for a similar reason. The group offensive buff it brings helps classes that need to attack from the front or the back. They also bring defensive utility skills for the party, which in some cases are actually a lifesaver. Bottom line is, every single class finishes all the content in Lost Ark, guaranteed. And I'm not talking about like pity content 3 months down the road, let's take the guy that plays that class because, you know, poor thing, never made it. No, I'm talking about if your gear is ready and if you have what's required from your party pre-made pug other than your class, because nobody cares what class you play, then you're gonna do good and you're gonna find a spot in groups for whatever you want to do. The most important thing is that you love it. The gameplay, the sounds. I gave you some pointers. I hope it's gonna help you choose. Other than that, it's all up to these two right here for you. Yeah. Last thing I want to mention is that there are two memes going around in the community. It's you know, it's tribal knowledge, folk stuff, but they do say that, you know, the Reaper dies all the time, and also that the Berserker is the first one to mess up. I'm just saying, I didn't create these. Just want you to be informed. We never judge though. Over on twitch.tv/SaivoSan, that's where I stream every week. I'm live. We never judge what class you play. We play together regardless, all right? Assuming you have level 10 gems. Until my next video, I wish you a lovely time in Lost Ark. I hope you're having fun. If you have any questions, let me know. Come on over to my stream over on Twitch. Ask me. And yeah, stay safe and take it easy.